I'm Jason Goliath,
And I'm Nicholas Goliath.
and this is a new podcast called The Happiness Economy, where we try and unpack, figure out, investigate, interrogate, I think holistically understand what is happiness even.
What is it to you? What is it to me? Is it different? Is it the same? What do you do to chase your happiness? Just chase it. We want to chat to people who we believe have found their happiness or are on the way to finding their happiness and find out what it is that makes them happy.
So, if you're happy, we're happy. The Happiness Economy with Nicholas and Jason Goliath. Tell her what you must. Please welcome everybody's favorite Goliath, Kate Goliath on the Happiness Economy podcast.
Just zap for the start.
The big boss dog, are we zapping?
Yeah, we
All
have
of
to
us,
zap.
just for
Everybody
just
zap.
once, just for
Everybody
the
zap.
beginning.
We
Got
got
a
to zap.
lone zapper.
Got to zap. Even cameraman was zapping.
That's
So if
where
you're,
my real
if
happiness
you're
comes
offended,
from.
be offended by the zaps on and off screen. There were many zaps in this
If you're
room.
offended by that, you must vie.
Quick context for Kate. Kate is my sister. She is Nicholas's cousin. Kate is the managing director of Goliath and Goliath. And is essentially our boss and our manager. She is a mother of two, a wife of one, and all round cool person. Welcome to the Happiness Economy, Kate.
Thank you for having me in this very happy setting
Yes.
today.
About time. Can you put your
Was that
phone
very
off?
long thing?
You
Sorry,
for a
man.
change. For at least
Sorry.
just 45. Just put
It's
the phone.
Sean. Sean
With
is
the
my
do not
sister.
disturb.
I don't know how to put vibration
No, you
off.
can
it's
put it
fine.
on do not disturb.
Okay,
flight mode,
clever
yeah.
guys.
You can give it to Eric.
You are very clever.
I'm gonna give it to somebody.
No,
It's
but
fine.
just
Wait,
flight
let's
mode is
just
going to
put
do the
it
thing
on
for
flight
45.
mode.
Because what you don't
And
know
Megan,
about
leave me
Kate
alone.
is Kate is always busy. Kate booked us into our flights while she was giving birth.
No.
Like, simultaneously.
finished.
Just
Giving
after.
birth. I
Just
was
after,
finished.
somebody was there
Just
wiping
about an
placenta.
hour. No,
Kate was there with
guys.
booking
Yeah.
codes.
Also, no.
Placenta and booking codes
Also,
on the
no.
same.
The hardest
it
time.
was midday. I had given birth at 9 a.m.
Yeah, and then midday she was booking us in.
And you, what are you
emails.
complaining about? What's
And then-
your story
Yeah.
for why you can't
Yeah.
do
You
what
I
you're
don't do
supposed
it
to be
anymore,
doing?
though.
Yeah, you irate because the headset in the call center is too tight. Now you
Yeah. Come on. Hardest working person I know.
So, Kate, straight in.
Thank
The
you.
happiness economy, our major pillars, gratitude, acceptance, perspective. If you don't understand them, please go and watch some of the other episodes. Kate does understand them, so we don't need to get, I think, into the
full breakdown.
the descriptions. But essentially, that's what we want to talk about. Accessing gratitude, acceptance, perspective, or gap as we call it, as often as possible to try and live the best possible version of your life. Are you living the best possible version of your life right now? Like off the top of your head, if is that a question you've ever been asked?
No, but I ask myself
Uh-huh.
a similar sort of question. Not daily. I think, every day is different. So today I feel like really happy, really here for it,
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
the movement of
Let's
happy.
go.
Other days, it's like, no, that will take a while. It will, let me
Those
drink
days
some
where you
water.
go, no, I'm
have
allowed to be
coffee."
angry.
Yeah, you know what I
I'm
mean?
allowed
Like,
to-
just let me vent a bit. But I do believe that even with those days, there is always something
Yeah.
that you can reach in and find to settle yourself and to bring yourself out of the
I think
non-happy.
I think that we're all old enough to know that being happy doesn't mean you're just grinning all day, giggling at everything. Like you can be happy. I've been happy and grumpy, happy and angry.
We're
happy and,
always happy and
overall,
grumpy.
Yes, I'm a grumpy person, and also being grumpy makes me happy.
Yes,
Weirdly, I find a lot of
yes,
times
yes. You
happiness-
actually love finding other grumpy people
Yes.
that are also happy because there's
Yes.
a great connection of
Those
grumpy
are
happiness.
my favorite type of people. Shout out David O'Sullivan. shout out David O'Sullivan. Grumpy and happy in his quotes. And I
told
think
702 to shove it up.
yes. Play the clip. Cut it in there. Just play it in there. 100%. Give us context there. Give us some context.
Just go watch the episode.
It's more like just the happiest possible version. And when you zoomed out, is your life happy? So let's break it down. Gratitude. What does it mean to you? Do you exist in a space of gratitude? Is it important for you? And where does your gratitude come from?
My gratitude comes from a few different places, and I'm very grateful. I'm very, very grateful all the time because I've always been made aware of knowing how blessed and how lucky I am to have the things that I have. And it's never been as much or, in great abundance, in wealth, in those sorts of things. But I've always had a view of I've still got more than somebody else.
100%.
And that's where my gratitude comes from. So even if it is a day of hard knocks, it is a day of parent-teacher meetings, of calls, of all of those things, there's still hey, my house is still here over my head. I've got petrol in my car. There's some milk in the fridge. Happy days, let's go. Let's be grateful for that. Obviously month end is the most grateful time of our lives, but it varies.
Easy to be grateful. Payday.
Yes.
Very easy.
Yes, but for me, I find it very easy to be grateful
generally
for everything.
Do you
I'm a
think
very
it's-
optimistic person.
Do you think it's because of your previous experience in like a normal 9 to 5, which is technically you were never in that?
Short
normal-
period.
yeah.
Short period, but absolutely.
Because we speak often about how the
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, when I was in school, I already knew I could not work a 9 to 5 behind a desk.
Yeah.
I already,
I
and
did
that
not know.
was my first thing when I was looking for a job, and that's why I wanted to be a journalist
Yeah.
first, because I was like, then you're on the
Behind-
road. You're never
Rebel.
behind the
Rebel.
desk. You know what I mean?
Moving to a
like,
notebook. Lois Lane.
spelling, might be the issue, can't just zap around there. And so, that for me was what I had always searched for. So even with my career choice, I looked for something that wouldn't tie me to, and I think it was also my student life when I was working at those jobs. And I worked at the Auto Trader. And
Shout
we had-
out! You're
when
on
you
me.
got there, 8 to 8:15, 10 to 10:15, 12 to 12:15, 1 to 1:45, 3 to 3:15. Those were the breaks. Nothing around those times. That was your time for smoking. The non-smokers used to get very upset. But then I told them, come hang out with us. It's fine. Nobody's going to get mad. But you know what I mean? So those sorts of things are just like, no. And so I've worked very hard to create sort of that, I don't need to be behind a desk, and that I'm very grateful for, is having that drive to say, actually, I am in full control of this choice.
You said something a bit earlier, which, as your brother, I want to correct you. So you said, it's easy for you to access your gratitude often because you're always conscious that there are so many people that have less than you. And I fully agree with that, and I think that's a great, and there's all of those memes about gratitude where there's a guy walking and he's incredibly jealous of the guy on the bike, where the guy in the wheelchair is incredibly jealous of the guy that's walking. The guy on the bike is incredibly jealous of the guy on the motorbike, is incredibly jealous of the guy in the car, of the guy in the helicopter. So eventually everybody can find somebody that, if you just look the other way. But I feel like as you've got older, it's not about other people. I just somehow think that you and I have, and maybe it's Mom, maybe it's Gail, but you and I are also very conscious of how little we could have.
Yes.
Like where
Oh,
our
yeah.
lives could have
Oh,
ended
yeah.
up.
Absolutely.
And also based on there was like some key moments in our lives
Absolutely.
where it could have all
We've
just gone
also
to shit.
seen people either destroy their lives
Yeah,
out of choice
100%.
or where the choice just happens to them
Make
and
some
they don't
flops.
have a
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
And you see this happening, and if you can't take stock of that and say, because being grateful is not just wanting things or knowing that
No.
you have things that you didn't have
No,
before or
100%.
that other people don't. You know what I mean? It's being grateful for I'm just grateful that I can wake up in the morning and be content.
Yeah.
and be who
And
you
I
are,
can
and
try
have the-
again. And I'm
Yeah.
grateful to know that I can make mistakes and try those. You know what I mean? It's not just a
For sure.
monetary or like an emotional, like it's difficult to
Because
explain.
I think a lot of people also assume when you speak about gratitude, you've got to look at the things.
Yes.
You have.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's like
aside-
counting the
yeah,
success.
I-
You know what I
no.
mean?
Yes,
Like,
yes, and
it's
it's-
exactly that. Yeah.
It's so much more.
You've never really been like a materialistic person. So your gratitude.
Yo.
No, you like your things, but you've
Kate
never
loves
been.
things.
Nah, but not like
Hooters.
you know what I mean, like
not
small.
the most expensive.
But it's always been
the
things that she
materialistic
likes.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's also been things that she likes.
Yes,
It's
Yeah.
like
the
it-
Hello Kitty,
100%.
Like
yes.
I like Cartier. I mean,
of course,
you
of
know.
course. Shout out
Yeah,
Ryan.
Ryan.
Ryan, you heard it here first, boy.
Oh.
Cartier,
The
my son.
Russian
He
one.
didn't hear it here
Yeah,
first. He's
the
been
Russian-
hearing it.
The
Been.
Russian ones.
He does
What is as becoming a mother?
Oh, no, this is gonna more for the next episode.
What is lovely?
No, but it's fine. No,
Oh,
they can't see.
grateful
No,
that
talk
you
about
got
being
coffee.
a
Lovely.
mother.
No,
Cup
but
to
also a
drink.
40-year-old man wearing light pants. What were you expecting today?
Yeah, I'm trying to change my life.
Yeah.
He's cute, Shane, with his color
Yeah,
codes.
No,
look,
he's
I
very,
came with
very-
a
Pop of
No, very
red
cute.
there.
He's
No,
gonna
it's
he's
happening.
taking us all around Kruger National Park immediately after because of his outfit. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's it. You know that nature
Actually
safe.
matching the carpet.
Yeah, we're all
very
jumping in his Hilux and are going to.
well. It's one of those with that duck there on the top,
Yeah,
and then we
that's-
sit
yeah,
high
yeah,
there on
yeah,
those
yeah.
chairs.
He's just chairs.
He's
He's just
even going to give us a
flicking
blanket.
elephants.
Yeah.
Yeah, foot tag. Swearing
Or
elephants.
chocolate guys.
I know the elephants by name.
And if you say Jason, I swear to God, how booty.
I wasn't gonna say it.
What is becoming a mother done to that barometer of the importance of things? You know, because I don't have kids. What is that done in terms of the way you experience gratitude?
I'll first give you the funny answer
Yes.
because it's really made me grateful for the things I can still get for myself. That's still nice because of school fees. But it's really changed my perspective because now when I do pay for school fees and pay for school things, I would have never dreamed
Yeah.
of firstly having so much money that I can pay their school fees. And secondly,
The real
that
things.
I actually don't even say, yo, I must pay school fees and I can't buy these shoes.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't register. So I think, like, becoming a mother for me, it's really just like, it's crazy because it doesn't feel like I'm giving more.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like I need to be more grateful or I need to take stock. It just feels like a real purpose for where all of these things need to go and why I need to feel like that. So it like elevates that missing of, oh, I could have really used those Cartier rings, but what do those Cartier
don't
rings
need them.
actually mean in
You
the
don't need
greater
them.
scheme
And
of
I
things?
always say, like, I'd be so rich if I didn't have lighters.
Yeah.
But
No,
I
you would
also,
not.
No, you'd be poorer.
would
I can
not.
tell you for
work as
free.
hard. I
No,
wouldn't work
you
as hard. No,
wouldn't.
but that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Is that,
You'd
so that
spend
was my
that
point,
money,
was to
exactly.
get to that. To say,
Yeah, but you don't feel it like
So
I
you
don't
don't feel
think
it,
about
yes.
it like that. Like
Yeah.
I don't think about, I could have. Sometimes, I mean, when you look at the end of the year school statement and you're like, wow, guys, could have
you
done
look at
these
the years
things.
that are still coming. to the school
Exactly.
statements.
They must study hard
So
and get
what are
bursaries.
you teaching the boys about their happiness and about their gratitude and being thankful?
So I think it's hard, it's hard to like sit kids down and say, hey man, you must be happy. And I think for us, it's always been a case of how we act and how we approach these things and how we show them how happiness
How to
is
show gratitude.
within our home and how to be grateful for things. We often talk about there are kids or there are people without these things. Be grateful about that.
Finish your
Very,
piece.
we talk about all that all the time and not wasting.
Yeah.
100% and being cognizant that, you know what I mean? Not everybody can get on a plane, all of us, and go wherever we want to go after saving. So they understand those sorts of
Yes,
things.
that it doesn't just happen.
You know what I mean? But what was the original question? I strayed
It was
a
just
bit.
what are you teaching? What are you
Yes,
teaching?
so teaching them that, and then just exactly like that. Kids learn from your actions,
Yeah.
and you see that like when they go to school, and then they're like, "Oh, this child is great in class," and you're like, "Okay, cool." Interactive, helping the kids and that sort of thing. And these are not things that like you don't. I mean, you teach your children, but you don't teach them to
Yeah, no,
go
it's
and
not
act
a-
like this outside
Yeah, we don't
the
sit them
house.
down and
Yes.
go, when you leave the house.
You know what
this
I
is
mean?
you
Did you
must-"
tick
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
boxes
Yeah, yeah.
today?
What is that saying? Because I feel left out. So I want to add something here.
Sorry.
But there's that saying of what children will do, what you do, not what you say. And so that's then
Yeah.
true with
100%.
kids.
Yeah,
so the
yeah.
most powerful way
100%
is to
action.
show
To show
them.
them through
Yeah.
action, yeah.
Kids in your life, I think yes, I see you experience a lot of gratitude for your boys, but in terms of a visual representation of acceptance, having Benjamin brought about such a violent the need for acceptance in your life without change. So to give context, obviously, Benjamin wasn't planned. I remember you finding out pretty late, and I also remember you not in your wildest dreams thinking that you were even nearly ready for this type of life change or commitment. I mean, you were still wanting to travel and do a lot of things. You cry for 8 days, and then all of a sudden you came out of your room not only ready to have a baby, but were one of the best mothers I've had the fortune of witnessing. Was there a period where you had to stop and accept that this is the reality and I'm going to love this reality? And what was that like?
Yes.
Sorry, so I was being so strong. I was like, yes, I want to do it.
I saw you.
I want to make it through this
Like she's
one.
got to
It was the hardest period of my whole life. Was those 8 days. I've never felt so alone at all. At all. And I just I was so upset with myself. I'd let myself down. I'd let mom down. I'd let you down. I'd let Ryan down in a way. Just from what we'd spoken about and what we needed to do as humans and what we wanted to do at that stage of our lives. And like you say, acceptance is that choice. And I had to make the choice because there was no turning back for me. It wasn't a choice of I can just go to the clinic and let's get this thing.
Yeah.
There was something inside of me that just said, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Wasn't an option.
It wasn't. And at that
yeah.
point, I didn't know how far along I was. I didn't know that I didn't have the choice. I still thought I had the choice. And
Yeah.
I bet you believe I was busy checking. And I phoned even to try and see. And something in me just said, no, put the phone down.
Yeah.
Don't do it. And it was, it was a couple of things. It was you talking to me through that period. It was a conversation that I'd had with Ryan. And in that conversation, it was like there was just a click that happened in that I've done everything else on my own. Why could I not do this? And I wasn't really on my own, but I also was.
100%.
And, it was that okay, well, and for most of my life, it's been like, pick up your panties, put your panties on, and get the fuck up and walk and do your thing. Like nobody else is going to do that for you. And that was it. And that was the acceptance. And then from there, just came this life-changing force into all of our lives of Benjamin. And changed so much and just made that choice feel so much better and so right. So it just affirmed the choice that I'd made when I saw him, and now 13 years later, it's still, when I look at him, I still think he made that decision for me, inside of me. And I can't thank him enough because it allowed me, and I never looked at it like you say now. I never looked at it like an acceptance
100%.
thing. It was just, and I mean, okay,
It was
it
a
was,
thing you had to
it
deal
was the
with.
truth,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I had
There was
to
no
do
label.
this
It was a thing.
Exactly.
There was just no label.
Yeah,
And it wasn't like because of the trajectory that I had on my life. This wasn't part of my plan now. I'd done so well to keep to my plan. I wasn't a stereotype. I made it to 27 before I was pregnant out of wedlock, guys, society.
No, that's Champions League coloured action.
25,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And then I still defied and I still said, no, man, there's no need to be married and tied down and create all this other sort of things. So, yeah.
Is there a magic in and I'm just replaying the experience myself and recounting your words, but you said that you not having binge was just not an option. You said that you felt very much alone. Then you said that you had this conversation with yourself of you've done everything else alone. Why are you scared to do this alone? And I remember very clearly you making it very clear to all parties that you were quite prepared to do this on your own. Do you think that because everything else has just worked out magnificently. You and Ryan are now married with a second kid, still wonderfully happy and one of the couples that we aspire to be like and learn so much from. But do you think everything fell into place because you were willing to do it on your own. You know, like they always say, like, don't get into a relationship when you want somebody. You first got to be content by yourself. Then, is it a similar thing? Do you think like everything worked out because you were willing to do it on your own?
I
So
think
your energy
so.
was different in
I
terms
think
of.
so, because normally when that does happen, and you guys jumped in and, wanted to come and help. And, even Ryan was like, what must I do? And, how involved
yeah.
should I be? And, it was also that gave me the independence to say, as involved as you want to be. It's your choice to do that.
Nope.
And
I'm not
then
putting it
that
on you.
doesn't
Yeah.
put any expectations on him. So he feels, I think, more empowered to make a decision as to how he wants to follow out. And it was also a case of, let's see how it goes. The baby's coming regardless.
100%.
You're going to be the baby's father. I'm going to be the baby's mother. Let's see and work around that. And one of the first discussions we had when we did say, okay, let's do this thing was, our relationship comes before all of that. We met before I fell pregnant.
100%.
And so that's
was like the
day
day
been a
before,
pillar. Half a day. But you know what I mean? So it's very much just having that independence of, I did not that I didn't need anybody, and then I didn't use, and I still use my great support system, but that I think enables people to help me in a better way, because then I can ask for the help that I need instead of taking unsolicited help and unsolicited
100%.
advice, especially in that stage of
And I feel like that's what a lot of women are going through, especially young women who find themselves in communities like we come from, where everybody's judging. How do you get over that? How do you, what was the thing?
I know stop caring what people think.
Yeah, Gail was there and gave you this strong sense of
so
self.
we'd had that from very young. Gail had given us that, you know what I mean? People
But
will
I mean,
judge
for
you.
the girl who's sitting
And
at
even
home
with
now.
that's why I was in my room for 8 days, because I had broken that thing that I'd said I would never do, because I didn't want to put my mother in that position of that judgment, because she didn't do that job. Her main aim was to not have us be those stereotypes. And that's why we didn't have that, people are going to judge us. People called us cheese girls and cheese boys because of the way we spoke, because we weren't just allowed to sleep out.
Hyper-conscious of the size of her sacrifice.
So we were, so we were always, and I was always like, you know what I mean? I don't care about other people. It was Gail that was my main worry, and Ryan's mother, because now she's going to think, you know what I mean? I hadn't met her. And you know what I mean? Now she's thinking, you're this girl from Joburg, has taken my son.
And as a boy, you have to
So-
say, hey, mommy, my girlfriend is pregnant. Which one is this now?
You have a
Which
girlfriend?
one is this now? That's not how she talks. I love you, Louise. That's not how.
No, exactly. And I mean, I had this conversation with my mother-in-law about, where she said she wasn't sure what to expect. But even that, I mean, was a blessing in so many ways, the family that I was given. By having Benjamin and by this, rollout of my life, it was just an addition. So it really, it comes back to I was really worried about my mother's judgment.
Yeah. Then anything
And there
else.
wasn't any judgment from her.
Now, we speak often about perspective and how, these things can be stripped down in so many different ways. But I think that it took 8 days for you to change your perspective. And I don't want to harp just on that time of your life, because you've achieved so many things after that. But
Can we also just say to the woman who's sitting at home now, who's young, who's not, who's maybe pregnant and
It's
hasn't.
not the end of it.
It's not the end. Kate is the boss of comedy in South Africa.
I remember saying to Kate, this is exactly what we need. Babies bring free love. And that's why I want to talk about perspective now, because at that time you could have chosen to look at it as a blessing or chosen to look at it as a curse. And what always scares me is both of those things would have been true.
Yes.
You know what I mean? However you looked at it would have been your truth. We now work together, and one of the coolest things about working with you is that you have my vibe of it is what it is, which is not a negative thing, but we don't pretend that anything isn't what it isn't, and we act based on what is, not what we hope should have been.
What it should have been.
And we don't spend a lot of time being caught up in that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of time people spend a lot of time being caught up. I once got some great advice from David Kibuka about your life will be easier when you learn to manage your own permissions. And I still am trying to unpack it and understand it, but essentially what he was insinuating is we give ourselves permission to feel a type of way.
100%.
So like you give yourself permission to be devastated about a baby.
Yeah.
You give yourself permission to celebrate a baby. You give yourself permission to be devastated about a piece of work that you really wanted that you didn't get. But you also give yourself then permission to how you want to feel about that. You become very good in terms of managing that emotion. What is it? Is there something that you know that we don't know? Is there a reason that you like that, or is it just a culmination of everything that you've been through and have learned?
I think it's just that your life is just so short to make trouble for yourself.
Oh, that's nice.
And, I just think that, and I've always been this person to just think of what is the positive way out of this situation? How can it be less shit?
What's the best case scenario?
You know what I mean?
From where I am right now.
Is it that shit that we've got to move on? We've got to kick it out. We've got to
take it on
turn
the
the
chin.
page, or start something else. Or is it only a little bit shit so you can sort of find the little glimmer of
Maneuver
light
around,
that shines on it? And I once made a post. I was on an aeroplane and I saw this piece of light poking through this cloud.
Yeah.
And the light is where you go to find it. So, there can be darkness, but you can find light in that darkness if you open your eyes.
Yeah, if you choose.
You know what I mean? And it's choosing that perception of going back to it. That's why these things are all interlinked: gratitude, acceptance, perceptions, because I've got to be grateful in order to have the perception.
Yeah.
And to be able to make
100%,
that
to
change.
have the light,
To
to
pull
find the
myself
light,
out of the negativity and to, and the thing is, like, life is too short. People are being bombed. People are being shot. People are being... it is ridiculous the amount of hurt and darkness that we are surrounded with. And the news and social media doesn't help, because that's what moves, that's what engages people, that's what people want to see, so that's what we're going to see.
Yeah.
And it can really get a lot. We're living in a state of trauma, and why can't we just find a little bit of sunshine in those things? Because I'm alive and I am grateful I'm not in a zone where people are being bombed. I'm grateful for those things. So change my perspective, and that then, like we always say, it bounces to you. It bounces to you as well. Exactly.
You also start creating the reality that you're going to live. So if you look for the cloud and the darkness and the lightning,
Yes.
that is
You will
what
find
will
it.
chase you.
Yes.
It will find you, and life will be relentless like that and
100%.
unforgiving. But if you search for the light more consistently, light will come. And I often, a lot of people who are close to me, you all know, that you can't argue with me about certain things. I'm going to get a parking right in front. I don't know why. I don't care how full it is. I don't care that somebody's trying to turn me away saying
see
there's
her
no
park
parking.
today?
I did. Very impressed. Very impressed. I was like, wow, Nicholas moving,
to the door
moving with
and the
Jason's
exit. Yeah.
angel.
Off for 7
But
quarter.
so I really believe that. But I also feel like, Nick and I always speak about a lot of people lose their happiness because of either envy or just looking at somebody else's version of happiness or portrayal.
Yeah.
So you follow
it's
somebody's social media,
Yeah.
you get into that.
It's indoctrination.
You've never been a person, like, as long as I know you, which is your whole life, you've never wanted what other people want.
Because
Like
it's indoctrination.
you've never been like one. You always wanted what
Gail
you want.
did that for both of you. Like, Gail
She
instilled that in
did,
you.
but I also felt like I had a bit more of it than Jason. In terms
It's
of
just a natural,
and it's a bravery, and it's something
and
that
not
only
needed to be
now,
not needing to be liked. I always needed to be liked a
100%.
lot more than Kate needed to be liked.
Only now in my latter years have I realized that it was a bravery thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like bravery and confidence can also be two different things
Yeah.
At different times. But it's really a bravery thing. And for me, it's just always been in me. Like, I can't be the same as anybody else. I'm born Kate Goliath on the 19th of June, 1984 at 9 o'clock.
If you're gonna do it right, it's
nobody else.
K8 is
Great.
GR8.
Thank
That
you.
was a Stuka in
And
school.
there's nobody else. There's no other Kate. So why should I have the things that others have. And it's also, I mean, it's, I mean, like I'm saying, it's indoctrination. We've grown up in societies that feed us what we are supposed to like, what we are supposed to think is good looking, is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, we've
100%.
grown in this fat phobia, and, you know, just like, you know, and we're taught like I'm different, so I also have to find a way in order to stand out because I'm not like the others.
Yeah.
And because the others get looked at first, and the different one is always like, hey, let's just wait. So I was always louder, I was always different because I didn't want to be stock standard, because I wasn't, because I didn't fit into the mold that society tells us we must be.
We were subjected a lot, like that type of peer pressure, you know, and especially coming from the colored community, you have to dress a certain way. You're not allowed to wear that. That's a white person's jeans. That's a black person's
Why are you
shoe.
listening to that's a
There
white
was a lot of
music?
that, like 80s, in the 80s and 90s. And then we were in France earlier, Charles de Gaulle. And one of the things I noticed at Charles de Gaulle is like, it's like the airport in Dubai, one of those airports where, you know, every Air France flight connecting comes there. So you've got flights from all over the world. Like you walk through Charles de Gaulle, you've got people from the smallest countries on earth to the biggest countries on earth. And what I noticed is we all dress the same. Like it doesn't matter unless you're wearing religious garb.
Yeah.
So unless you're wearing religious
and even then you
garb,
dress the same
no,
as everyone else
100%.
wearing
No,
the same
but
religious garb. Yes.
but very often they'll be like from a specific country or space. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yeah.
You can identify. But anybody outside of religious garb, we all wear the same shoes. All our jeans are cut the same. We all like the same hoodies. And it's like when we were growing up, people in other countries used to be able to see. That's like, oh, that's a Dutch vibe. Leidhausen there. Or Germans, you know what I mean? Oh, that's American. That's a whatever. Now there's this even more influence for everybody to look the same, be the same, do the same, want the same.
But still be different.
And so, do you think do you think you're able to
You
find?
can customize your sneakers.
But is it possible to find happiness in that monotony? Because that's where, you know, the world, capitalism, the control of the media, it's all
Absolutely.
forcing us into
But
that.
I think, you know what I mean? I
If
think
you
for
allow it
me,
to force
it's worse for me because I can't find the happiness in that.
So
So
you
for me,
naturally.
it's more
So-
difficult.
Okay.
So I think that for people that do, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Love Beyonce,
Easy.
love these things. You
100%.
know what I mean?
Swiftie.
Like, go
I'm a
crazy.
Swiftie.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
go crazy for this mundane, bland stuff.
But didn't, I mean,
And
that
it
didn't mean that
makes
about
people
Beyonce or Taylor
happy.
Swift. There's nothing mundane.
No, I'm
bland
just
to
talking about the
nothing.
color grey.
No, I'm just
and
saying for my
beige
own
that's
safety,
mundane.
because those are aggressive people. Those Beyonce and Swifties, those fans.
And that
But-
makes them so happy to come after you
Yes.
because you said something about a person
You know
what
that
I
does
mean?
nothing for them.
Yeah.
You know what I
Nothing.
mean? And I just actually saw a post this morning about a lady going on about how, you know, Beyonce's come out with a new whiskey or liquor, and they're like, this woman doesn't care for you guys. She is taking your money and laughing all the way to the bank, and then you want to tell her how much you love her and that your opinion is so valid to her, and actually not.
Yeah.
She's literally sitting in a room right now thinking of more ways to take your money.
To the Beehive,
And
That
that's
for me,
fine if you
it's
want to
fine.
give your
No, I'm
money,
just-
but you need to also know what the backstory is.
I also feel like that's a big part of why this conversation is so important around happiness, because you can't pin your happiness and your joy on somebody else's
Beyonce's
success.
whiskey.
And no, tomorrow Beyonce, something happens to her, then what? Now your life is in a shambles. It's the same like we were saying, you attach your who you are to your title.
Yeah.
It's the same
Exactly.
thing that these things get taken away.
So
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
and I'm not defending, and also to the Beehive, please direct all communication direct to Kate's platform. Don't come for us. But I know, and I can think of two incredibly dynamic, ridiculously intelligent, powerful women who one is obsessed with Beyonce, just like the biggest Beehive. The other is obsessed with Taylor Swift. Yet I find because they have actual passions, big jobs, big projects, big families, and they have other things, loving Beyonce and loving. So I'm not saying that nobody mustn't be obsessed with anybody. I'm going to
Yeah,
find
no,
your
no, no.
happiness
No.
wherever. But they have a very healthy.
100%, but exactly. But that's what my point
passion,
is. Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? If you can't find those faults because all I see is capitalism and all these things staring at me with those things.
Yes,
But I do have things that I really am passionate about that I will also spend my money on.
Yeah.
That's
I
not
know it.
Beyonce.
Spice Girls
You
had
know
a
what I mean?
reunion. I know you there.
100% I'm there.
Me and
First
Kate used
in
to dance to
line.
the Spice Girls.
First
If
in
there was a
line.
Spice Girls and Craig David,
Yo!
like a mixed
Yeah.
concept.
Wee.
And yeah, exactly.
Robbie Williams
You know what I
in
mean?
there.
We would go and that's fine. But it's just, I would always look for who's standing behind Beyonce, and using Beyonce as a reference
Yes.
by Hive. There could be anybody, but I'm always looking for there must be something else that's cooler there. Doesn't have to be in the front, and that's why and that's also, you could also boil it down to, I wish I could see everything at face value and not look further into a thing.
Do you know, you obviously, both of you know Dude with Sign. You know the guy,
Yes.
Dude with Sign, the guy that stands with the signs.
There's a girl now also.
So if you could, yes, they take a couple, I think, Dude and Girl with Sign. If you were to write a sign, and on your sign, so it's normally 6-7 words maximum, what would your sign say about your top tip for people to live a happy life?
It would just have a zap on it. For real, literally.
Fuck
you know?
everybody.
And it's not even that, like, you know what I mean? It is, but it
is,
also
but it's not,
isn't.
yes.
Like, it's literally a zap to me, and I even wear it. I've got it on my neck here. There's a small one. So that if I can't, then
baby
it's
zap, yeah, yeah.
representing.
Yeah.
But it really just, for me, symbolizes a uniqueness to myself. And it gives me a confidence to say, I can be happy being Kate. I don't need to rely on what other people think
Don't need.
or are telling me is going to make me happy, or no.
So
And
just,
people
I love
accept
that.
Just
because
zap.
anybody who takes a picture with you zaps. You don't ask, they do it
You know
because
what I
Even
mean?
mom. Even mom who's
People-
never zapped in her
exactly.
life.
My mother
Yes.
even
Hates a
sends
zap.
me some zaps sometimes.
Hates a
you know,
zap.
and
Yeah.
that's it. You know, it's become a great connector. But I think also because I think when you first see it, it is always that's what
Yeah.
it means. But for me, it is so much more than that because it just means like this is me and fuck everything else.
So it's an empowering
Except
thing.
me
Yeah.
or nothing. Yeah,
if you don't like me with a zap, then fuck
Then it
right.
is.
I am the zap. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Look,
Gap,
I'll give
zap.
you one more. I'll give
Yeah.
you one more. I'll give you one more.
Yeah.
Shop. The zap in the
Do
gap.
this to all of your problems in life.
Yeah, just do it now while
Except-
you're listening.
Some of the problems you need to work on.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
yes.
time
No.
to
I work while I'm zapping.
Also,
I
I'd
can
like
multitask.
just to point out, I'd like you to treat the comments about Beyonce and the Zaps in separate WhatsApp groups. They're not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, they're not
no,
the
they're
same.
They're not connected at all.
I respect and admire Beyonce's hustle,
Yes, champion.
and that's all.
Goliath Happiness Index, Kate. Gratitude, acceptance, perspective, 1 to 5. 1 being terrible, 5 being could not be better. In terms of Kate, where are you when it comes to gratitude?
7.
Yo, 5 plus 2.
I believe that.
I do believe you. I also think that you've shared enough so that we don't even need to interrogate why or how.
Thank you.
Just 'cause the boss.
Thank
May
you
it stay at
very
a, may it
much.
stay
Yeah,
at a
no.
7.
Time.
Acceptance.
Because you don't
Acceptance.
understand how you need a Kate in
Keeping.
your life. Jeepers.
You can't afford her, but you need her.
Yeah. Sure.
Acceptance.
3.5.
Why?
There are things that I need to accept and that I need to move on. I'm also, I get riled up sometimes quite easily, and I think. I hate to say it, but turning 40, wow. Really, no, but it really it's changed my mindset on so many things, and it's this cheesy, as you get older, but for real,
Facts.
guys,
That's
as you get
facts.
older, and 3.5 is actually really high for me because there still are things that I need to accept.
Yeah.
Throughout career, home, everybody, and except about myself.
Yeah.
But I think I can get to 5 pretty quickly.
Like it. And last but not least, perspective. Your ability to have the right lens.
Or to switch the lens.
8.5.
Come on, Vrpa.
8.5.
Yes.
Yes.
Golf 8.5.
Yes, no, we are overachieving. It's gonna balance the
Yeah.
acceptance out
Yeah.
a bit there. Yeah, I think but for me, perception is the most important of the 3, because you got to. You've got stun. That's all I'm going to say. You
That's
really
the one
just
that,
got
that
stuff.
almost controls the other
It
two.
really does.
Because you can't accept and you can't be
You
grateful
can't. You
if
can't.
you can't
If you
look
can't
at the
check-
different view.
And nobody's coming to put a different lens.
No.
So it's
No.
like when you realize that you can engineer your experience.
100%.
And your experience doesn't, I always say to people, like, your experience doesn't even need to be honest. You can lie to yourself a little bit sometimes. You know what I mean? You can lie to yourself a little bit
Correct.
sometimes. And lying to yourself just a little bit sometimes is part of acceptance, knowing that, I need to be told that I actually look okay in these skinny jeans.
Yeah.
I feel hot.
Yeah.
I feel great
Yeah.
today. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
In that energy, please look into that camera. Start with your name, and please tell people as quickly as you can why they must not miss this episode.
My name is Kate Goliath. Do not miss this episode because I'm cute, and also because I think there's a lot of value in listening to me as a young person, and you can reach out to me and continue the conversation.
Like that.
Listen.
You
Like
first
that.
want to offer a reach out.
Like that very
I like
much.
that also, yes.
Second one to offer a reach out. Donovan did it as well. Episode 1.
Also offer a reach out. And has anybody reached out to him? You know?
No.
Yeah, but Don also don't answer his phone.
Yeah.
He'll say, reach out.
He's watching.
Reach out. Then he treats
He's
you like
looking at his
Edgar's.
phone and checking
Then
if
he
he can
treats you
see
like
you in the
Edgar's.
distance.
Hey. So to those of you who reached out to Donovan, good luck.
Come through
He's
me.
busy.
Good luck.
Don is busy.
Yeah.
Hardy. Kate's also busy. Shape.
This
I
has
am, but I'll
been
make time for important
this has been
conversation.
Kate Goliath on the Happiness Economy podcast. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
Can I
Jason
just say
and
before we go
Nicholas.
that
Thank you, Kate.
every day still I'm surprised. Every day.
Yeah.
The child that you were
Yo,
to the adult that you are.
if you knew Kate like Nick and I knew Kate, you would not question that high gratitude score because Kate could have been anything. You know, when somebody was quarter
Why
to
they judging
Bergie,
me?
quarter to Nyaupe person, quarter to, like Kate
I
could
was
have.
never quarter to
Whew.
any of those things.
Kate
I was
used to.
quarter to
Kate
broke.
used to come home after nights of partying with no hubcaps on the car.
Yeah,
and
but that's
deny,
not from Yaupe,
and
Jason.
deny. I do not.
Nyaupe
I do not.
wasn't
being
made-
a
Somebody must have
student.
stolen those hubcaps. I'm like, the rims are scraped. No, not
Cold
me.
wheels.
Then years later said to me with a confidence in her face, you know what I realized? I'm actually a very good driver. It's just that sometimes I don't watch where I'm going.
No,
I'm not a
those
bad
days,
driver.
and I mean, I was a young student.
Yeah.
Don't judge me.
with a car.
But you know
Yeah.
what I mean? There was no
Yes.
Uber at those days. There was only Rose's taxis.
we
So
were-
we had to use what we had to
and
use
Rose's
to
Taxis
get
was like,
to and
was
from.
like Bolt, version 1.
Really? No, we really
The
had
Alpha
to.
version.
No, we
Oh.
went 8 of us in a car and we went out.
Now we
and
used to
the
roll.
police were not on the roads.
There were a
So
lot less
Big
cops.
facts.
there were
when we
really
were
a lot.
facts.
There were really none.
you-
There
I
were
I don't know
literally
why.
none.
Are they recruiting more like at high schools now? Why are there so many
No,
police?
but it's also they didn't care about drinking and driving at those
Don't
stages.
drink and drive.
In those days,
Yes.
they really didn't, and it's very scary. Like I think back on those
Yeah.
days, and I'm like, yo,
That's
guys.
why we're so
proud.
grateful
Ooh,
to
and
be
now,
here.
exactly, and now, I mean, we go out and we look at people in restaurants and then you
Judge
see them picking up their car keys and you're like, guys, you just drank a bottle of wine. What is wrong
you
with
should
you?
not be drinking. Do you
Must
know
I
how
call
many-
an Uber for you?
Oh.
You know what I mean? And I mean, those are old people, so it's also like, guys,
Yeah,
come on.
because they still caught in the past. Then there were cops
Yeah,
on the
no,
road.
they don't care. They also have 100s and 200s in
Yeah,
their bags.
Yeah, I
just
know
to-
people
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
it in the
Exactly,
standard.
It is what
exactly.
it
It's
is.
standard.
Anyway.
Not
It is what
for
it
any
is.
reason.
Yeah, that's a
Thank
long
you for
conversation.
watching.